Greetings everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Starco Gaming and today we're going to talk about the best support character in the game. A lot of new players or even players being playing a while but just casually do not understand the importance of support character in the game. So today I decided to make a video about my favorite support characters. We picked 5 PvP support characters and 5 PvE support characters that we're going to talk about in this video. Now if we get started with the PvP character, guys, the first one, the most important one in PvP basically is Cherie. Not only Cherie has an amazing leadership, which is here, apply to allies, activation rate 1 debuff, remove all debuff, and that lasts 12 seconds with a 20 seconds cooldown. So this is very amazing. It's going to counter pretty much every single debuff in the game, 12 seconds on 20 seconds. So this is very amazing. But not only Cherie can do that, but she is an amazing offensive character at the same time. So that makes Cherie pretty much the most important PvP character in the game, just because of that, in my personal opinion, guys. So this is the #1 PvP character. For support characters, well, she's support characters, but she's more than that. This is why she is in the first position, guys. The next character, if I can actually find it, I wish I could actually press the search button, is Wasp. A lot of people think that Wasp, oh, her damage is terrible, she is useless. Well, this is not true. Once you actually get Wasp to tier 2, you get this thing here. Activation rate, when debuff applied to all allies, remove all debuff for 20 seconds. So it's actually even stronger than the Cherie leadership, to be honest, guys, and is actually a passive, a team bonus. So you do not actually have to put Wasp as leader to get the benefit out of this. So if you're actually running strong physical attack team, for example, you can actually put a strong physical attack leader and have Wasp just as a team up that you're mostly not going to be using, but you still get the debuff removal from her. Not only she does that, but she has amazing survivability when played properly. Basically, personally with my Wasp, I've been able to kill pretty much everything. You count them. I killed Cherie with her, I killed Quicksilver, I killed pretty much everything except maybe Wolverine. Most of the time it is not possible, but everything else played manually, for example in Timeline, she can actually destroy pretty much everything, especially with the new uniform. With that said, in Alien Conquest she is not controlled manually, it is AI play. Still, with the invincible obelisk, she still have a lot of survivability with the iframes, the immune to all damage buff, plus the invincibility plus on the obelisk. That makes her very good to survive, which is actually very important in the PvP. So for that, guys, she is #2 on my list. Now if we go with the #3, the next 3 in PvP, guys, are not the best, but for Online Conquest, having many characters that actually support you in mostly debuff removal is very important, as you're going to be finding a lot of people that stun, that web you, that fear you, that mind control you. So having many of them is very important. If you only talk about Timeline, Wasp and Cherie are the only ones you want to care about. But if you talk about Alien Conquest, you have a big list that we're going to go with 5 today. So the next one on that list is actually Odin. If I can actually find him, let me make sure. I was at the bottom of the list here. There we go, Odin. Odin used to be the optimal meta before the release of Cherie and the new wave of insane iframe together. Still, Odin can actually hold his own if he's actually built properly, but it will get destroyed most of the time because it is too expensive to actually build him properly, and he's not even going to be in the top 20 best character for Timeline or Alien Conquest even built properly. But if you actually just use him for his leadership, which is this one here. As Guardian Wisdom, activation rate. When debuff, remove all debuff for 12 seconds. Now the cooldown is 25 seconds. So it is a little bit weaker than the Chain Grey debuff removal, but still very useful. But also increase all resistance by 30%. So you will take less damage from fire, mine, all those elemental damage. Well, the resistance is increased by 30%. So your team will take less damage from those elemental damage, which is very, very useful, and that still make him a very strong character, especially in Alien Conquest. If you go against a lightning team that brought somebody that web with them, for example, like you got Storm, Thor, and I don't know, Spider-Man in the team, and you bring this guy out, well, you'll take less as soon as you remove the debuff, you'll take less damage from the lightning damage, which is actually going to make you a little bit stronger against that thing. Will make your partner stronger. So very, very good character for Alien Conquest, guys. The next characters on my list is Supergiant. Supergiant is not a very strong character, not until she actually get a new uniform, which we were hoping with Infinity War that will come out, but it did not. But maybe one day she'll get a uniform, will make her much stronger, but still, she is a pretty decent character in Alien Conquest. First, you have her, I think is her leadership. Yes, her leadership is as strong as Wasp tier 2 passive, basically. It removed the debuff for 20 seconds, and the cooldown is 25 seconds, so you only 5 seconds that the opponent can actually get a debuff off you, which is very useful. But not just that, but she also have crowd control ability, guys, which is very, very useful. I'm not going to go through the skill to show it to you guys, but with her having crowd control ability, will make her that not only she's going to be removing debuff, but she's going to control the fight if she can survive. That's the key point. If she can survive, this is exactly why I'm saying that once she gets a uniform, she'll get much stronger, because a new uniform will most likely increase her survivability. And if she can survive, she can fear. She can, I think it's fear, mind control, whatever, but that's going to make her much stronger. But for now, just her leadership is actually very, very good for Alien Conquest to actually be able to counter, like I said earlier, the dodge, the freeze, the time freeze, the fear, all that, the webbing, all that stuff. This leadership is amazing for that. Then in 5th position for PvP, we have this guy. I just gotta find him. I think he's still in my tier 1 list, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just trying to find him, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, there he is, Malekith. Malekith, don't expect anything good from him other than his debuff removal. He's a pretty shitty character. Play on AI at least. Maybe on manual he can do a little bit better, but on AI it is pretty terrible. But here you have here. Applied to all allies as leadership activation rate. When debuffed, 30% increase of energy defense for 20 seconds, which is actually pretty good against energy attacker. And remove all debuff for 20 seconds, but the cooldown is 40 seconds, which is why he is the worst debuff remover in the 5 characters we talk about so far, guys. So this is Malekith, guys. This is the number 5 for PvP, and the character that most people will not have built up, just because that you can just set him up to 1, 2 stars mastery, and still going to be able to help you in the Alien Conquest. Not a big deal. And guys, don't forget that all those characters I'm naming for Alien Conquest are very useful in Shadowland too. Example, you're finding the Spider-Man floor in Shadowland. Well, to counter all that webbing, any of those 5 people can actually be very, very useful for that. Now it's time to move for PvE wise, guys. PvE wise, in my opinion, which are the 5 most important support character. Number 1, we have She-Hulk. She-Hulk has literally the best leadership in the game, and she only needs to be tier 1 6 stars mastery to be useful, guys. So that makes her so easy to build up really fast and to be well, the best leadership in the game, pretty much. So let's take a quick look at her leadership here. Applied to all allies, increase a damage dealt to male type characters by 55%. That is with the uniform, guys. If you don't have the uniform, it's a little bit lower. I think it's like 48%, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I check it out without the uniform, but with the uniform, she has 55% increased damage to male type character. Now, male type characters, people say, well, yeah, but when do we fight male type characters? Well, every Alliance Battle Extreme is considered male type. The beasts, the minions are all considered male type characters. So she is the optimal leadership for Alliance Battle Extreme on No Restriction Day and on Hero Combat and Female Combat. So those 3 Alliance Battle Extreme, she is the optimal leadership. And the 55% of all attack well, increased damage dealt. It's not going to only buff your attack, because a lot of people are going to think, okay, it's just going to buff my attack. No, it'll buff your attacks. Well, your, for example, physical attack or energy attack. Yes, it will buff that, but it will also buff the amount of damage you'll get off your critical attack, the amount of damage you'll get from your elemental attack. All that, it's every single possible damage output that is increased, which make it so much stronger. Like, for example, your energy attack normally will crit for a certain amount. If you actually have the actually buff for energy attack, your crits will be increased less than if you actually have She-Hulk leadership that's actually going to increase the damage from the amount you crit from, not from the amount before you crit. So I don't know if you guys follow me, but that will do a lot more damage overall. It says 55%, but in total damage output is way more than 55%. So she is the #1 support character for PvE, in my personal opinion. Then we move to the next one. I hate trying to find those characters. Okay, we got Coulson. Well, Coulson needs to be tier 2, guys. The only skills that's useful on him is his tier 2 passive here. Director orders applied to hero allies, only heroes. Decreased damage received from super violent type characters by 15%, which all Alliance Battle minions and frost beasts are super violent. So you always take 15% less damage. Increased damage dealt to super violent type characters by 40%. Alliance Battle Extreme character minions and frost beasts are considered super violent too. So, like I just said with the prayer line, so 45% increased damage, increased guaranteed critical rate by 20%, and that is the key point. That is why Coulson is the best character to put in a hero blast, a male blast team in a no restriction day, because guaranteed crits if you use a hero, a super hero basically, so it will increase your guaranteed crit rate and will do extra damage to super violent. So in my opinion, this is the best tier 2 passive in the game if we consider all the tier 2 passive that increase damage. Although it only applies to heroes, so if you're playing a villain, Coulson becomes it becomes trash, because it will not increase anything from the villain. Which will bring us to the next two, Valkyrie and Cherie. Their tier 2 passive is just slightly different, but they are about the same. Valkyrie is mostly going to be for female combat and hero combat, but she is pretty strong. Here, hold on, skills. Tier 2 passive, as you can see here, decreased damage received from super violent type characters by 15%, increased damage dealt to super violent characters by 45%. Pretty standard, guys. It's pretty much the same as Coulson, except it applies to all allies, and you do not have the guaranteed crit rate, which is the only reason she is not better than Coulson in my books. Then we have Cherie. We're going faster with those characters because they are so similar. Now I just gotta find Cherie. There she is. Now Cherie. Cherie is tricky because you have uniform for her to make her stronger. If you do not have the uniform, her tier 2 passive is lesser. So here you see, well, applied to all allies. A decreased damage received from super violent by 35%. This is the only reason that with the uniform that makes her better than Valkyrie. If if you don't take the restriction like combat or speed restriction in consideration, because she will take less damage than Valkyrie, but the damage increase is the exact same. It's 45% damage dealt to super violent type character by 45%. But if you do not have the uniform, I'll show you guys the stats without the uniform so you can actually get to see it. Here we go. See, it's only 25% damage reduction and 35% damage increase, which is why she is in 4th position, guys. Because if you do not have the uniform, she is lesser than Valkyrie. But with the uniform, because she gets better damage reduction than Valkyrie, she is a little bit stronger in my book. But overall, she is weaker than Valkyrie just because of the uniform. Then the last one. Okay, the last one is tricky. We could have went with Beast or Werewolf, but people nowadays only use those two guys in World Boss Ultimate. I want to be more focused on, well, World Boss Ultimate in general, but I want to be more focused on Alliance Battle Extreme in this video. So the next one I'm actually going to talk about, guys, is this guy, Cyclops. Not only Cyclops has a pretty decent leadership, especially with the Marvel Nar uniform, but he has an amazing passive. Here you can see his passive applied to all allies, 15% increase of energy attack, which is very, very useful. Pair up with what's his name? Cable. You pair this guy with Cable, that will make him very strong. You'll put him as lead with Cable because his leadership is 35% increase to all attack and 25% increase of all defense. Well, with the Marvel Now uniform, if you have the previous uniform is 25% increase of all attack, and if you do not have uniform, the leadership is still 25% increase of all attack, but his passive, I think, is 10% instead of being 15%. So if you put the 35% increase of all attack with Cable plus his tier 1 passive, you get 50% increase of energy attack right off the bat. But it's not only that, is that he also has a team up with Cable that will make him, well, the best lead. You put this guy lead with Cable and Coulson on Male Blast Day, and that's going to be the optimal team, guys, for that. So this is why Cyclops actually make it as the spot number 5 on my list for PvE content, well, most likely Alliance Battle Extreme content. So guys, this is pretty much it for the best support character in the game. Once we actually do our first official tier list, guys, we're going to have a section in the tier list that is called support character, and we're going to name all, some characters as only good at support, some other characters are good at everything, but still classified support character, and they are going to be ranked there with a better idea of what they can do in the game, guys. So yesterday I only picked 10. I think those are the 5 best PvP support and the 5 best Alliance Battle Extreme support characters, but there are so many more that can actually be very, very useful as support characters, and we will see them when we do a full tier list live stream in 2 weeks, guys. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you agree on, what you disagree on the comment section, guys, and don't forget to share this video, like this video, and subscribe to the channel to help the channel grow more, guys. So thank you for watching, and see you guys in the next video.